to Center for Spiritual Living, Parker. So great to see you this morning. I'm hearing that some people had a hard time finding a place to park this morning. So that means you have to get here early to get a parking place. I think they're having a summer camp, sports camp, so it's taking a lot of the parking places. But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you found a place. So thanks for coming this morning. So glad to have you with us. If I haven't met you yet, I'm David Howard. I'm the minister here at Center for Spiritual Living, Parker, and it's so glad to have you this morning. I want to welcome Sydney Erickson this morning as our guest singer, pianist. Thank you for being here, Sydney. And I want to share with you, we got a thank you card mailed to us from one of the people that we helped with their yard work the other day, a couple of weeks ago. And this is from, she said, I wanted to thank the ones who came to my home on Saturday, June 24th, to help me by weeding my yard. They did a fantastic job and were so kind and cheerful. I also enjoyed visiting with the one who came to keep me company. I'm sorry I'm really bad with remembering names, but I'll never forget them and all they did. God bless you all, Joanne Haynes. Very sweet. And speaking of service to others, we have a collection table back here for the Crisis Center. The Crisis Center helps those who are experiencing domestic violence or escaping from some domestic violence situations. They're doing a collection of personal care items for those that they serve. There's a list of these items, or common items, back there on the table. So when you're at the store, you might want to think about picking up some extra items and donating them and bringing them here. We'll be doing that for the next few weeks, 2 more weeks in July, so we'll be doing that for a couple more weeks. So we appreciate your willingness to help out with that. Also want to point you to our welcome table over here. If you're new, there's some information about us over there. There's also a guest card. We'd love to have you complete that, so we have a record of your attendance here. I promise we won't be hounding you with emails or phone calls. We'd just like to know that you're here, and we appreciate that. If you'd like a name tag, if you've been attending, or this may be your first time attending, and you know you're going to come back, you may want a name tag, and Jeanette Bennis over here will order those for you, and then surprisingly she'll have them for you next week. So it's amazing how quickly that turns around. There's also our Learning Center table. That's new this week. The Learning Center table, we've got some classes and workshops coming up. We've got a tentative schedule, but a schedule through next year. So we're going to be teaching some of the foundational classes for Center for Spiritual Living, and we've got a couple of other things that will be happening as well during the year, some workshops and things like that are happening as well. I think that's probably the only announcements I have, and Hans Bennis has an announcement he would like to make as well. So come on up, Hans. It's all yours.
Good morning. I want to thank you that I didn't have to fumble with this thing. I see people fumbling with this thing week after week, and I'm wondering, it's just a button. Experience really tells you something. How many of you have asked yourselves, who is God? I know I have. And you keep asking and you keep digging and you say, well, God is not a who. Then you go to the next phase. What is God? Why is God? How is God? Where is God? And once you come out of those rabbit holes, then you say to yourself, or you ask yourself the real question, who am I? And that brings us to our next class. I forgot I had a brain fart. Getting to know you, capital Y, capital O, capital U, colon, Christ realized. Now, to sign up for that class, it starts August 16th on Wednesday from 10 to 12. And the Wednesday classes will be held at Dr. Vern's house. And if we're lucky, we'll see some wild turkeys, deer, definitely hummingbirds. The Thursday class starts the 17th, again, 10 to 12. That'll be on Zoom, the weeks 1 through 5. And the final class will be at Dr. Vern's place as well. So what do we talk about? And I'd like to get to 3 B's: believing, becoming, being. And really, it's just our journey into the unknown of who we really are. And along the way, we'll probably ask a couple of questions. If we get into philosophy, we'll say, hey, Descartes, you got it wrong. It shouldn't be, I think, therefore I am. It should be, I am, therefore I think. Even Albert is not immune. We're going to say his theory of E equals MC squared is not the granddaddy of them all, but Paul, Ringo, George, and John got you beat with A equals L. All there is love. So to sign up for this class, there are two ways. Number one, you go online, classes, there's a tab, classes, events, and something else. But you click on that and it'll bring you to a form, two forms. You choose either Wednesday or Thursday, and you click on the link, and that'll get you to Breeze, where Jeanette will get the information and what have you. The other way is on the weekly newsletter, where there's a page also for the class and a link again to this Breeze form that'll allow you to sign up. The cost is $105. So if you're looking to climb the stairway to heaven and knock, knock, knock on heaven's door, and if we open up slightly, the light that'll shine on us will change your life. It'll be the experience of a lifetime. So I hope you join us. Any questions, see me or Dr. Verne. Thank you.
Awesome. Sounds like a great class, and I'm glad I'm not the only one that has brain farts, so thank you for that. So I want to invite Felina Harrington, our practitioner of the day, up to share a reading with us.
Good morning, all. I have a loud voice, and now it's even louder. So the reading this morning is kind of twofold, and I really forgot I was doing podium duty this morning, so I found this kind of at the last minute, and I'm not really thrown by it, because I just know when I have situations like this and have to face them, that Spirit's got my back. So this is a combination of two readings from the Science of Mind book that was several years ago. But this first part so spoke to me that I wanted to combine it with the second part, okay? I am humbled when I notice how easily I am knocked off balance by the events of the world. It can be embarrassing to admit that sometimes even low-level inconveniences can throw me off my center and cause me to forget my spiritual nature. And when I am off-centered, disturbed by challenges, big or small, real or imagined, I lose focus on the greater blessing built into my life, and I forget the bigger picture. And now I'm going to share with you the bigger picture. The manifest universe is a term that describes all that appears in creation. Everything of substance, all that has form, that you can see, touch, feel, smell. And it means everything that you can eat, relate to, love, make, destroy, grow, breathe, drink, dance with, hate, discriminate against, embrace, or hurt. Wow. Everything that is in the physical world is called the body of all that creative principle known as the divine. It is a poetic idea, one that helps us remember the first principle of our teaching, which is oneness. It is an idea that can help us to be respectful toward our planet and all of its inhabitants, and towards each other. It is easy to see why a spiritual movement such as this calls us to be inclusive, to value diversity, and to aspire to be excellent stewards of our resources. Further, if everything that exists is an expression of the divine, then does not everything deserve our awe, our reverence, and our loving kindness? And so it is.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God.
So let's take this opportunity to stop from the busyness of our morning. Settle in where you are. Feel the chair supporting your body. Feel your feet firmly planted against the floor as you feel the energy of Mother Earth supporting you, sustaining you. Feeling your connection, as Felina shared in the reading. Our first principle is oneness. Knowing that we are one with the earth, with the sky, with all of creation, with each other, and one with that life energy that animates all of it. And so as we stop, allowing our hearts in this moment to go deeper, and deeper and deeper and deeper with each breath, as we open ourselves in this place of surrender to that spirit of life, that spirit of wholeness, the spirit of love, the spirit of peace, joy, and abundance. The energy that it lives itself in us and through us and as each of us. We open up into the awareness of our hearts, where we feel that presence, where we connect consciously with that life energy, that presence. And today I want you to invite into that space within your heart, again, as Felina shared in the reading, anything that might be going on in your own life that may have thrown you off center a bit, anything that might be happening in the life of someone that you know or love, and we know that there are people in our community who are experiencing some challenges, facing some illness, facing some diversity. And we know that those things in life can throw us off center a bit, and so we want to hold that together. As we bring into our hearts that which each of us is experiencing, and we bring into our hearts that which those we know and love, whether they are part of this community or not, we bring them into our hearts. And we know that it is that light, that love, that is the source of all balance, of all healing, of all peace, of all prosperity, of all the ideas in the mind of God that is the truth of each of us and each of those that we hold in our hearts and minds today. So see in your mind's eye each one being surrounded in this love, uplifted in this love, because we know that truly love is the only power, and love is a healing, harmonizing, attracting power. And so see yourself embraced, enfolded in that light and love, that healing energy, whatever might be happening in your own life, and those that we hold in our hearts and minds today, we know the truth for them as well. They too are the truth, the divine life expressing. And as we claim it together, as we know that it is the truth, we know that it is so, and we are so grateful for that. Together we claim it by affirming, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. So today I also want to welcome another guest artist today, someone I've known for a long time. We greeted this morning and we were wondering, how long has it been since we've seen each other? And we knew each other back in Dallas, Jay and Carrie and I. And Carrie is a among many things, an award-winning songwriter. She's a recording artist. She's a mother. I know I was asking her I said, how are your girls? And she said, well, I said, Hannah
and Caroline.
and one is 27 years old. Are you kidding me? She should only be a teenager. So, yeah, time flies, doesn't it? And so Carrie, again, she has some CDs over here if you'd like to purchase one or two when you leave today and sign up for her email list. But I'm so glad to have Carrie. And the thing I love about you, Carrie, and I'm going to share with you about Carrie, is that she's just so open and open-hearted, and that's where her music comes from. And so we're so glad to have her today. So please welcome with me Carrie Cooper.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Well, I thought I would start today with a song that kind of speaks to my spiritual journey, which started back in Texas in a little bitty town. So some of these stories might not be surprising, but anyway, here we go. This song is called First Aid Kit. In Sunday school when I was 4, with all the kids piled on the floor, the teacher told a Bible tale, asked who was swallowed by the whale. Tell me if you think you know, I blurted out, Pinocchio? She snickered, you're no Bible scholar. I felt the heat inside my collar. Oh, little fool, I told myself, you're probably going straight to hell. Of course you didn't. Guess the name, come sit next to your new friend's shame. When I was 8, I walked the aisle of Baptist church, my biggest smile, to claim my faith in Jesus Christ. I couldn't wait to be baptized in holy water. At the scene, I told the preacher what I dreamed. I said, I wanna preach like you. He said, that's something girls can't do. Oh, little fool, I told myself, you're probably going straight to hell. You're just a girl. You're to blame. Stay in the back with your friend's shame. Well, shame and I grew pretty tight. He held me through the darkest nights. Sometimes I'd pray, this can't be right, to feel so used and broken. Then God sent down a first aid kit to heal the wounds and all the shit I carried with me, trying to fit a gospel so misspoken. I might go back and tell that preacher music is my greatest teacher. Hit him with the gift God gave me, singing all the songs that saved me. Oh, little fool is not the name I answer to. I'm not the same. Shame is gone, he's been replaced. Come meet my new best friend Grace. Her name is Grace. Amazing grace. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. I can't imagine anyone here relating to any of that. But thank you. That's a great song. And I can certainly relate to that as well, for sure. And so today, I'm going to continue with my talks based on this book called The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. And as I've shared before, I really think it should be the 15 Commitments of Conscious Living. Because for me, it really is about how we show up in the world as our best self, as our Christ self, as our true self. And a lot of times I think, as I talked about, I guess the beginning of this series was, it's really about, we wake up and we focus on waking up to our truth. And we focused earlier on this idea of growing up, of reclaiming some of those things that, we may have set aside. We talked about that, and then we talked about cleaning up. And this is really about showing up. How are we showing up as we do all of that? And today I'm going to be talking about living in our zone of genius. Yay! Yay! Living in our zone of genius. Now, what do you think about when you hear the word genius? Who do you think about when you hear the word genius? Einstein, yeah, we talk about Einstein. We talk about Marie Curie. We may talk about people who are genius at music, Brahms or Beethoven or Mozart, or we may talk about, who's that? Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga, of course, Lady Gaga. We do miss out on some of that, right? So we don't necessarily think in those terms, but we think about, these people are geniuses. They're genius artists or musicians or composers or scientists or whatever. And then we think, they are genius, but I'm not a genius. I can't claim that I have genius so that I'm anybody ever... So stand up. No, don't. Anybody... I think we compare ourselves unfavorably when we hear this word genius. And what we're talking about today may be a little bit different idea of genius. I want to share with you several readings today, actually, but I want to share with you something that Unity minister and author and teacher Eric Butterworth, some of you I know are familiar with Eric Butterworth, in the Flow of Life. He says in his book, Talks with Great Composers, Arthur Abel quotes Brahms as saying, "I always contemplate my oneness with the Creator before commencing to compose. I immediately feel vibrations that thrill my whole being. I see clearly what is obscure in my ordinary moods. Straight away, the idea flows in upon me. Measure by measure, the finished product is revealed." Ah, we say, but Brahms was a genius. How we evade all possible imitations of a divine dimension in humankind. The genius does not differ from other persons in his or her access to the light, only in his or her confident acceptance of its effusion. As we witness the exploits of the genius in music, art, science, or business, we should recall Jesus' idea, all these things that I do, you can do too, and greater things than these shall you do. This can happen to us if we get into the flow. So he talks about that genius as this light, this power that flows through us. It's not a noun, it's not a person, it's not a label necessarily that we assign to someone, but if we think about it, genius is this flow of God energy, of creative energy, of the power that flows in us and through us and as us, and each one of us has equal access to it. It's just that we don't necessarily take advantage of it. Dr. Ernest Holmes said something very similar as well in a little book called Spiritual Awareness. He said, there is a place within us where thought springs spontaneously from the divine. By inviting divine ideas to enter and express through our consciousness, we can permit the inspiration of the creative genius of the universe to impart new thoughts, to create new scenes, to enlarge all our horizons. We get to open up to that, but why don't we? What is it that keeps us from fully accessing that effusion of light, that flow of God energy, creativity through us? There's a one-word answer to that. Resistance. Somehow we are resisting that flow. And it shows up in us in many different ways. It's one thing I really enjoy about the book, because they talk about many different spiritual teachers, and they use material from different spiritual teachers. And this is actually from Harville Hendricks' book, The Big Leap. Many of you may have read The Big Leap. We may study that book as well. He talks about how many of us don't accept our genius or live in our zone of genius because we think we're inherently flawed in some way. I'm not good enough. Shame plays a big part in that. You know, we've learned somehow that we're not good enough, or people have told us we're not good enough for whatever reason, whether it's by being a woman, whether it's by being gay, whatever reason we may have been convinced that we're not good enough, and we believed it. And so it's an insidious thing within us that we don't open up to our greater yet to be. There's also this idea that we might be disloyal to our family or something. Like, it's like, I remember hearing that all my life. I've shared that with you. Don't get above your raising. Don't get too big for your britches. Who the hell do you think you are? Right? Anybody else ever have that idea? You know, I have a friend who was talking to me, sharing with me about his experience recently, and he said that when he first began his career, he said when he first began to become successful at his career, he was thinking, who am I? I'm just a little farm boy from Nebraska. I'm nothing special. I don't have any special skills. I don't really have any special talents. Who am I to be successful? Who am I to make money? Who am I to have prosperity? And he told me that when his mother found out that he and his wife were buying this big house, she saw it on the internet, and she called him up and she said, "Boy, if I ever see you raising your little finger, I'm going to break it off." Just that idea that our family would say to us, if you somehow get above, if you think you're above us or better than us, or somehow you're doing even better than us, somehow that's maybe a threat. Might be a threat to our family relationships. And so we may resist that. You know, we may also resist, and I can own this to some extent. I can own all of this, really, honestly. But to this idea that if we really show up, if we really embrace who we are, let that genius flow through us, that's going to be a whole lot of responsibility. Somehow I'm just comfortable in my own little space. Right? What is the world going to expect of me if I really show up in my genius? What are other people going to expect of me if I really show up in my genius? There's a quote from A Course in Miracles that talks about this idea of the difference between selfishness and self-fullness. It says selfishness is of the ego, and selfishness is withholding. It's not being confident, it's withholding God. We're holding ourselves from God, and when we withhold ourselves from that flow from God, then guess what else happens? We withhold it from each other. We withhold it from the world. We withhold that flow of energy, and not only are we deprived of it, but the world is deprived of what we have to share. Right? So what is it that we have to share with the world? Another idea about that is this idea that we might, again, it kind of goes back to family dynamics, that we might not fit in any longer, or we might somehow be disloyal or whatever. I was remembering when I had a nephew, 2 nephews actually. My brother has 2 sons, and they still live in Georgia, and they live in a very small town. They don't even live in the town. They live outside of the town, in the country. Actually, they live on the land that my brother and I inherited from my father when he passed. And my brother has built houses. My brother has a house out there, and both of his sons have houses out there. But when I was around one of his sons, especially when he was young, he was very intelligent, very bright, and curious, and studious. And I just saw this great potential in him for whatever, I don't know. I wanted him to go to college. I wanted him to really develop his own ability, his own genius, his own whatever was wanting to express through him. But he did, well, my judgment, he chose not to do well in school because he didn't want to stand out. He didn't want to be different from his friends. He didn't want to really embrace, from my perspective, right, his genius. And I mourned that to some extent. My own idea, my own perception of that, right? And, since he's gotten married, he has 2 children now, and he started his own business. And, what I realize about that is maybe that is his genius. Who am I to say? I don't know what your genius is. I don't know what your ability is. I don't sometimes even know what mine is. I think it's sometimes challenging for us to admit our own genius, isn't it? To understand that we do have special gifts and talents, and to own it, and to be it, to let that light shine. I think sometimes it is challenging. And the book offers us some suggestions about maybe how to get in touch with that. One of the ways they suggest is ask your friends. Ask your friends to tell you well, let me just tell you a couple of things they say in here. Ask your friends, what am I doing or talking about when you experience me most energized and happy? What am I doing or experiencing doing or saying or thinking about when you experience me most happy and connected? Think about that. What do you see as a special skill I am gifted with? And where are the 3 favorite qualities you see in me? That might be challenging to ask your friends that, but imagine what they might say. Can you imagine? Just imagine right now for yourself. What might their answers be for you? It doesn't mean that you have to be a genius at music composition or a genius visual artist or genius scientist. It's not about that. It's about knowing and connecting with that flow of energy that is unique to you. And then to be willing to own it and accept it. There's a definition that I found in the dictionary about genius. This is one I like too. It says, a person who strongly influences for good the character, conduct, or destiny of a person, place, or thing. A person who strongly influences for good the character, conduct, or destiny of a person, place, or thing. How can your genius show up to positively influence your sphere of influence or the world? Or maybe it's not the world, but your world. How can you show up being that flow of creativity and energy? It doesn't have to be a big thing. And it can be, I mean, it may seem like a small thing. I'm going to share with you something that a couple of weeks ago, I had lunch with Shirley, who's with our children. She's taken on being with our children on Sunday morning. And she's also on our board. And what I experienced as one of her expressions of her genius is joy. You cannot really be in Shirley's presence without feeling that joy coming through her. Is that genius? Yes. In our way of thinking about genius, that is genius. Because her energy uplifts other people. For me, it's just contagious. And she loves being with the children. And that's a gift too, right? She's living her genius by being with the children and living her joy. Does it make a difference to the whole world? Absolutely. When you show up in your genius, that energy extends out to a whole world. You may not know it, but it does. What is your genius? And I want to share with you too, that we as a community here at CSL Parker need your genius. Right? What is your gift? Hospitality. Maybe it's, greeting. Maybe it's food. Maybe it's setting up. Maybe whatever it is. Maybe it's service to other people. Whatever you're teaching. What's your genius? And are you willing to contribute that? I love this. I mean, it may not be singing like Carrie. It may not be that particular flow. But I love experiencing that. Experiencing that genius as the flow of God energy that flows through Carrie as she writes her music and as she sings. Because, again, it's something beyond her. So can we show up as that? The other piece of that, and the last piece of that I want to share with you today, is the question can come up for us about, well, how do I claim that, own that, live that, without it being too egotistical, without being or appearing too egotistical? Well, first of all, let me say this. Without hopefully it's not too negative, but I just want to say the reality of it is, when you claim your genius, when you stand in your genius, when you allow that to flow through you, there are going to be people who will judge you. There are going to be people who won't like it. And some of those people may be your family. But there will be people, and most of the time it will be people who are afraid to accept their own genius, who are still resisting. So if you're going to stand in your truth, in your power, in your genius, just know that that might happen. But also, as we accept our genius, as we live our genius, I want us to remember what the master teacher Jesus said, too. It is not I. It is not I. It is the power. It is the genius flowing through me that does the work. And if we can just let go, now I know it's hard, It's human to care what people think about you. It is. Can anybody honestly say you don't give a rat's butt about what people care about you? I don't think anybody can really say that. Maybe. But we do. So it's interesting because so be aware of that. Be conscious of that. But don't let that stop you. Don't get into the resistance of that. Be with yourself. Give yourself empathy and compassion for that. But know that it's not you. And know that it is you. Right? It's not you, but it is you. Because you're the one that's showing up. You're the one that has said yes. You're the one that has chosen to be the vessel for the genius that is flowing through you. And that's a hard, sometimes, thing to find the balance of, right? So I just want to remind us, how do we, going back to my idea of this holy shift that we're making and how we show up, how do we do that in this idea of living in our genius? Again, as I talked about, the S is soul awareness or self-awareness. Can I really connect with and be aware of that genius that wants to use me? That's a great way to look at it, isn't it? How is this genius wanting to use me? Flow through me and my own skills. Be aware of that. Check in with yourself. This H is for me is this honesty. Am I living that? Am I showing up? Not about shaming ourselves or judging ourselves, but just being honest. Am I really showing up? And if I'm not, can I make a different choice? The I for me is about, again, intention. What intention am I setting? Am I getting up and saying to myself, I am showing up in my genius today? Reminded me of something I wrote a while back, 2 years ago. I was watching American Idol. Anybody watch American Idol? Thank God. Anyway, I'm not the only one. Lionel Richie, one of the judges, he was trying to convince somebody to be confident, to accept their power, their talent. And he said, and then one of the other judges said, tell him what you say every day when you get up. And he said, I look in the mirror every day, and he said, oh my God, it's Lionel Richie. So imagine getting up every day, looking in the mirror and saying, oh my God, it's David Howard. Or, oh my God, it's Carrie Cooper. Can you imagine getting up every morning and saying that in the mirror? Oh my God. This wonderful expression of God looking back at me in the mirror. How can I show up today? How can I more fully show up today? So set that intention and focus on that. Focus. F is focus. Focus. And then the T is, to me, it's really about going back and trust. Trust the Spirit. Trust your guides. Trust that flow of energy. Trust that flow of what are we talking about? Trust that flow of genius. I had a brain fart. Trust that flow of genius flowing through you. And trust yourself. That's key. Trust yourself. To know and to show up and to be the presence of whatever genius wants to flow through you. You are the vessel. But you are the vessel. There's nobody who's going to write Carrie's songs but Carrie. Right? Nobody. So be that flow. Allow that flow. Open to that flow. Connect with that flow. And really make that shift for yourself. Claim your genius. I really want you to get up in the morning or go home today, look in the mirror and say, oh my God. Everybody laughs at that, doesn't it? Okay, all right. So anyway, Thank you for listening. Thank you for connecting with that. And thank you for accepting your genius. And thank you for your willingness to share your genius with this community and with the world. Because you do make a difference. You do make a difference. So let's take an opportunity now to stop, to breathe, to go back into that space of our hearts, moving our awareness from our head as much as possible, from the thinking, deep into our hearts, and truly connect with the flow of that life. You can do that by placing your hand on your heart, even just feeling your heartbeat, knowing that that life energy is living you, is beating your heart, is breathing you into being, right here and right now. And as you open yourself up, as you let go and let that life have its life as you claim your genius flowing through you, right here, right now, feel it, ground it, choose in this moment to be it. And open your heart and open your mind to any inspiration that you might have now. As you ask, what is my genius? How is genius showing up through me? And claim it, own it. And we are grateful for this opportunity to come together, to open our hearts, open our minds, and to connect with the flow of life, the flow of genius moving through each of us. And we allow it to be, knowing it is so, and together we say, and so it is. Thank you. So now is the time when we have the opportunity to open up to the flow of the genius flowing through us as prosperity and abundance, as we share from our good to support this ministry. It's the Center for Spiritual Living, Parker. I know that many of you give electronically and other ways, and we do appreciate that as well. So let's take an opportunity. Close your eyes once again. Hold in your heart or hold in your hands and your mind what you have shared or what you're going to share, and see that as an expression of divine love. That divine love flowing through you, flowing as you, to give and to bless and to share, and to know that as you receive, you give, and know that you are blessed in the giving and in the receiving. And we are grateful, and so it is.
Well, this is a song about showing up, so how appropriate. I don't know if you were like me, but when the pandemic hit, it did more of a number on me than I thought it did. And a couple of years into it, I realized I had kind of been living in a big funk and not really living up to my genius or living into it. And I was driving home one day, and the words to this song just kind of crept in, and I decided, okay, it's time to change that. So I said goodbye, I traded towns. I drove my heart into the ground. I cut my ties, I cut my hair. I tried to hide, I wasn't there. But my guitar, it calls to me. Here in the dark, it says to sing. So I will sing my pain, and I will sing my fear. I will sing my name, 'cause I'm still here. I lost my love, I lost myself. I lost the map, so it's been hell. I lost the grace offered to me. I tried to pay, but grace is free. And my guitar, it calls to me. Here in the dark, it says to sing. So I will sing my pain, and I will sing my fear. I will sing my name, 'cause I'm still here. Till I'm buried in the dirt, I'll keep singing even when it hurts. And I will sing my pain, and I will sing my fear. I will sing my name, 'cause I'm still here. Why don't y'all sing that with me one time? So I will sing my pain, fear, and I will sing my fear. I will sing my name, 'cause I'm still here. I'm still here. We're all still here.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you again for coming and being with us. Driving down from Boulder today. Thanks so much. And thank you all for being here as well. We're so blessed to have your presence and your energy. So I'm going to invite those of you who are willing and able to stand, and let us together bless and give thanks for these gifts this morning. So truly breathing into our hearts, we breathe into the awareness that we are all connected as that one power and one presence living in us and through us and as us. And we know that that life expresses through us in so many ways. And our financial good is only one way. And we are grateful for that. We're grateful for the way it flows into this community. We bless it as it comes in. We bless it as we share it. And we are grateful for it. And we know that it is all good. And so we claim it, we allow it to be, and so it is. And thank you all for this morning. We're doing a closing song?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
1, 2.
I release and I let go.